Hello, this is Lucas from Holding Absence, and you're listening to Louder.
So we're Lucas.
Hello, how are we doing? Good.
Holding Absence.
Yep.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Just starting the tour,
Day one today.
and then joining Loathe and Blood Youth.
Yep.
So you got a busy week.
Very busy. We've just come off another 11-day tour last week as well, so this is kind of like the second leg of our UK tour essentially, so keep it nice and busy. So yeah.
I got a press release saying that 2017 is going to be really busy for you guys.
So far it has been.
Yeah, it's only the first quarter?
Third, I guess, now, but still early days.
So what's planned for the future?
Well, like, we've always been very adamant that, like, as a band, we believe we should tour as much as possible and gig as much as possible, and obviously it's not as easy as doing that, so, you know, there'll be a couple of months where we'll be a little bit quiet, but the idea is to just make sure we're playing at least, 3 to 12 shows a month, every month of the year, really, and so far, since our inception back in August, we've only really missed one of those months, so it's been pretty busy. So yeah, like I said, 2017, hopefully we just follow suit with that. So.
Okay, so if we jump straight into business, can I ask about an album?
Oh yeah, nice. Well, we've always been very adamant that we were not going to try and do an EP. Not that it's a bad thing. Like, EPs are one of the, it's like a very good device for bands in different positions and stuff, and I totally get it. But I feel like we're the kind of band that, like, we would hate to put out like 4 songs and not, like, give more, you know what I mean? Like, when you listen to an album, you get into a real flow of things, and I'd hate for people to, ever listen to a release of ours and just feel like they didn't get enough from us, you know what I mean? So the idea has always been to write an album and probably make a start this year, but obviously absolutely no idea when we'll start, finish, release, etc. So
just teasing us, okay?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Dream of Me.
Yep, Dream of Me.
It's a lovely name.
Yeah.
But then you wish the subject to die, to sleep forever.
Yeah, well, it's not so much a wish; it's just more of like
Pray.
Yeah, it's a weird song. The lyrics are very subjective, so it can be interpreted in 2 different ways, I believe. And like, the general arc of the story of the song is about a lover kind of leaving you, and the thought that, like, on their deathbed they think of you, and they look back at you as one of the last things that they think of, I guess, you know what I mean? But then every lyric is relatable to death as well, and the passing of life and stuff. So, and then that gives it a bit less of like, a smug kind of outlook, and a bit more of like a somber one, I guess. So it's interpretational, but like I said, the key lyric, "When you sleep forever, dream of me," is kind of like a way of saying, like, on your deathbed, I hope you look back on me, you know what I mean? So yeah,
I've already detected the death theme.
Yeah, there's a lot of death in that.
Because also in Permanent there's
there's a million lyrics.
So what's with the death fixation?
I think as a lyricist, I've gone through good questions as well, man. There's always the same boring questions, but there's a lot I can talk about. So, like, lyricism's always been really important to me, and I feel like as I grow and the phases I go through as a person, I get fixated on different topics and stuff. And not I'm fixated on death at all, obviously, but like, the idea of it is very, like, negatively grand, you know what I mean? Like, death is the biggest thing in the world, and it is the only inevitability in life as well, you know. So there's a lot to talk about, and I think, for example, Dream of Me brushes over death as a topic, and Permanent is a positive song about death. It's a song that kind of speaks to the listener and says, not to the listener, sorry, to a character in the kind of narrative that I don't want this person to kind of end their life, essentially. So it's like a plea. That song is more of like a plea to a friend to kind of step away from the ledge. And I think especially when writing lyrics, you should be very conscious that people listening can be in a million different places in their life. So I think having that positive pat on the back as a listener, if you're in a hard place or whatever, is always really important. So. But we'll write other songs that'll be a lot more morbid. So no worries there.
So what's scarier, death or a world with no hummus?
Oh, right. I feel like a world without hummus is equal to death in all of our minds. Yeah.
Okay. So do you guys get proper hummus on the road?
Yeah, man. Like,
don't say Tesco.
No, well, this is the thing. Is like, I was literally thinking this the other day. There's no like, I don't know, like Kellogg's is like the cereal. Do you get what I mean? And like, you know, you have like branded kind of like Walkers are the crisps, you know what I mean? But like in the hummus world, there's no like king like of hummus. There's no like one brand that everybody goes to. It's very much like, you know, whatever they got in store, I guess. So maybe that's a thought for any entrepreneurial hummus makers out there. Like, come up with a brand. Like, there's quite
So like many bands come out with drinks, maybe holding absence. Can
yeah, mate. Honestly, we've actually spoken about that. So yeah.
And again about perceptions. So you guys describe, I think it was even you specifically that described a really good day as the day that the van broke down and you had to bring stuff. I think you smashed it and then somebody had to jump the highway. Yeah. That was a good day.
Not so much good, maybe more interesting. Okay. But yeah, our van... drummer crashed into somebody's car, which was not ideal. That wasn't good. And then as we were driving away with like the details and stuff, they flew out the window, so we had to pull over on the hard shoulder of the motorway. But it was, like I said, the sun was shining, you know, so it wasn't all bad.
And more about perception, are you romantic?
Ooh, I can be. I'm not like... I'm more hopeless than romantic. But yeah, I feel like there's romance in everything, and I think especially our music as well, like I feel like I will definitely sing a lot more about love, romance and happiness in years to come, you know what I mean? This is definitely a lyrical topic that I'd love to pry on in future.
So to get a bit personal, are you in a relationship right now?
Kinda. Yeah.
Okay, so we're not gonna dig into that. But what's the biggest romantic gesture that either you put out or receive from someone?
I'm sure there's a select few women in the world that can vouch that I'm not that much of a charmer, shall we say? Like, not that I'm not a charmer, but like I'm a bit of a lazy dude in every walk of life. So like, I'm not really like a kind of down on my knees with a bag of roses kind of thing. But
writing a poem?
I could someday I might, but quite yet I haven't. Like yeah, romance is a funny topic. I feel like in terms of love, romance, and that kind of thing, like it's very much a personal thing. And like, I feel like if ever I was on the same wavelength with a girl anyway, I don't think she'd be too wowed by chocolates. Even though I'm wowed by chocolates.
Is that the reason you weren't sure what to say about
yeah. Yeah, but yes.
Okay, getting in trouble, sorry. What's with the death stick moth character?
So the moth, I don't know. Like, there's a lot we could say about the moth. For example, like the idea of like a moth is kind of like you know, like a decaying image is like a moth eats kind of like decaying things. You know what I mean? Like it's quite a negative thing, but the thought of like a moth decaying, that kind of puts like life and like how finite everything is into context, I guess, but it's not really, it doesn't particularly mean anything. Like, it just looks cool. We came across it, the boys came across it before I even joined the band, and yeah, we just like, I think it's very important for a band to have an image and a thing, you know what I mean? And if you want people to kind of believe in your band, it has to be visually as well as sonically, so it's really nice to have that image to plaster over everything and kind of get people involved in our band a little bit more.
Another person that got involved in your band was he a drug dealer called Yantu?
You've done your research, man. No, fortunately, we've never met Yanto. We don't know, like, that's not actually his name as well. We just nicknamed him Savage Yanto.
I thought it was the plate or something like that.
Yeah. Imagine. But yeah, no, sadly, we don't actually know his name, and we'll never see him again, I hope. But yeah, that was an interesting story.
Some road rage interaction?
Yeah, it was weird, man. It was really weird.
Friends on Facebook?
No, sadly not. We took his reg plate so we could keep in touch with him through that. But yeah.
And final question, you guys are from Cardiff?
Yeah, primarily.
And you've mentioned that there are a few venues closing down around Cardiff.
Yeah.
But there are so many bands coming out of Wales.
Yeah.
Whether it's Dirty Youth and Skindred are smashing it. Funeral for a Friend called it a day.
Yep.
But still, there's so much music coming out.
There's so
but is it
many
not being taken back by the audience? What's going on in Wales?
It's a really good question once again, man. It's a very hard contrast. I feel like, not to, I don't want to make a conspiracy theory of it, but like, the internet has changed everything in music, and these days it's easier to write an EP, record an EP, film a video, post it and get 50,000 plays than it is to write a song in a practice room and record it on your phone and get people to come to shows. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, the kind of the punk aesthetics of the last 50 years, like, are borderline non-existent anymore, and it's sad, you know. So I feel like the reason bands like Casey, Junior, ourselves, you know, bands like Dream State and stuff like that are kind of like doing quite well at the moment is because the internet gives us such a platform. But then in the same way, you can't, you know, overplay in your local town, like for a band like us and a band like theirs, like isn't probably the best diplomatic move, you know. I feel like it's a call to arms to the younger musicians of Cardiff as well. Like as a 16-year-old musician, I used to play like as many shows then as I do now, purely because every week I was playing a show every Friday. Do you get what I mean? And now we'll cram 30 into 60 days or whatever, but I feel like there's not enough kids just kind of like wanting to just go out and play a load of shit music to a bunch of nobodies and just make friends out there. Like, you know, it's and I do feel sadly it's because the internet doesn't glamorize it as much as it glamorizes itself, and I feel like that is the biggest issue with all these. Obviously, like, live music it's imperative and it's so important to everybody. Like, as a music fan, as a musician, you know, as a consumer, you need live music, because the reason you found your favorite band is because they played music in a live venue first, you know. And it's sad that the Cardiff Council is treating it the way it is. Like, it's at the end of the day, it isn't a noise complaint because like some stroppy teenagers making noise in his bedroom. It's the most like cultured street in the whole of our capital city is doing what it does, you know what I mean? It's not like an anarchic thing. It's literally musicians making music in a street that has been known for making music for 30 years now, you know. So, and it's sad that the kind of the council just can't kind of sit up and be like, well, it's like a football flying out of a football park into somebody's garden. Like, obviously it's going to happen. It's a football park, you know what I mean? And it's just one of those things. Like, I've never been like a all cops are bastards kind of guy, but like, sorry. But, you know, at the same time, in the eyes of the police and the government and stuff, things are different than in the eyes of an artist, you know what I mean? So, I got a little bit deep then, but it is a very important topipic, and I do really want to speak about it. So
I got a bit lost. Is it venues closing down because of complaints?
Noise complaints.
There's not enough demand.
Noise complaints, not enough demand is another thing. Luckily, Cardiff does have a lot of demand.
So when you do play, people do show up. So it's not because nobody's buying tickets, but still, it's more because...
In Cardiff, specifically, it's a noise complaint issue, and they're planning on building more flats, if you can believe it, next door to those, so as if that's a good idea. But at the same time, it's very sad to see some very good venues across the UK closing because of a lack of response from the audience, I guess, you know. So
maybe you should write to Dave Grohl. He saved the teenagers.
Yeah, man. Well, Dave Grohl...
Got some complaints from his neighbours. Okay, Lucas.
Good shout.
Anything you want to say to fans and listeners?
Nothing. This was a really good interview, man. You've nailed it. So thank you very much for having me.
Okay. Any plans for the future that we haven't gone over? I think
the album is the goal now. Yeah. Sorry, I should be plugging more. Like I said, we're obviously, by the time this comes out, the tour might be finished, but we're currently on a run. We're headlining a few shows. We're playing 3 shows, which is sadly not as many as we'd like to do, with Loathe and Blood Youth, who are two really, really good bands. And then in the summer, we'll be playing Download Festival, Camden Rocks Festival, Amplified Festival, and a couple of other appearances and stuff. But the books are very much open for us, so just keep an eye out. Like, everywhere is a target, like, you know, every corner of everywhere. So
we're going to expect more singles, and then one day, hopefully 2018, an album.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man. Okay. Maybe not even 2018, you don't know. So.
Okay, Lucas, thank you very much.
Pleasure, man. Thank you very much.